Welcome back to the Mad Spideyverse. I'm Mad Spidey. Thank you for tuning into my channel. So today it's going to be another one of my movie night with Spidey. So if you watched my last episode that I did, I always pick a letter at the end of the video, and that allows me to go to that letter and then choose either a movie or a series to, talk about, review, give you a bit of trivia, things like that, and that's what I do in these videos. Last letter that I picked was T. T for Tango. Or Tango and Cash. Good old 80s action movie. I do love this movie. I have seen it a lot of times. Obviously starring Sylvester Stallone, and Kurt Russell. This was brought out in 1989. It was directed, well, I'll say this loosely. One, I can't pronounce the guy's name, and two, I'll get to that. It was directed by Andrei Konchalski, I can't pronounce his last name, but they actually went through a little bit. They actually went through a few. Like, he's the one that was actually credited with the movie mainly, but they went through, I think, 3 directors, including, I think, Sly, actually, for a small amount of time as well during this movie. Had a bit of turmoil through the movie, but obviously they got it out. 1989 was the year. Also starring a very young Terry Hatcher. Obviously you'll remember her from, Lois and Clark with Dean Cain and, a few other things. But yeah, she was a bit of a, young guy's sort of fantasy when she was younger and things like that. But yeah, and also the legend himself, Jack Palance, was also in this movie as the main bad guy. But yeah, Tango and Cash, it's basically 2 cops from different sides of LA. The two top cops in LA. Sly is more of your sort of, rocking up to a crime scene or to a drug bust in like a suit and tie and glasses and things like that, like very sort of, almost New York Stock Exchange-ish, very sort of suave. Whereas, and obviously he's Ray Tango. Kurt Russell plays Gabriel Cash. He's more of the smart ass, wearing $5 t-shirts and jeans to go to a drug bust and, and swear and, all that sort of good stuff. But yeah, the basic story is that these 2 are the top cops. They, obviously, the big bad guy, Jack Palance's character, wants them out of the picture, but he sees them as, okay, well, look, if we just kill them, they'll end up being martyrs. And yeah, it's going to be more trouble than what it's worth. They're going to have the whole cops on their ass. So they pretty much frame them for murder. So they end up going to jail. So the story is basically them getting charged with murder. They go to jail. They need to break out, clear their names. And then obviously the craziness of when these 2 get together ensues the rest of the chaos. The only thing that's probably a slight, this is a personal gripe, whether you've watched it before, of the movie, or you're about to watch it, because I'm talking about it. The only thing that I'm probably a little bit disappointed with is it's a fairly shortish sort of movie. Like, I think it goes for, it's like an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 40 at most. I can't remember the runtime. The majority of the movie is the start, obviously going through the jail scene and the court case and all that sort of stuff, breaking out of jail, and then once they're actually out and trying to clear their names, it's not much of the movie left. So they clear their names, obviously, get the bad guys, all that sort of stuff. That's probably only about a quarter of the movie, so I think they could have dragged it out just a little bit longer at the end. Maybe it didn't have to be ridiculously longer, maybe another 20 minutes or a half an hour, just to sort of see them try to sort of put some pieces together a bit more instead of just going, we know this guy did this, so let's go and get him and get the evidence. Okay, we're cleared our names, let's get the bad guy. Yeah, it could have been a little bit more drawn out. Like, I usually won't say that. Usually I like movies to get straight to the point, you know, unless there's some sort of murder mystery thing or something like that. But they could have dragged it out just a little bit. So, yeah, obviously a little bit of trivia, as I like to do when I'm reviewing these. Some I know off the top of my head, some I'll just, you know, do a little bit of research on. But Kurt Russell's character, Gabriel Cash, was originally scripted for Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze had to pull out because he ended up filming Roadhouse, which that'll be another movie that eventually, once I get to R, I will do. Another one of my favorite movies. But yeah, we got Kurt Russell and he played the part brilliantly and it was fantastic. The other thing of note that I remember is an opening scene with Sylvester Stallone's character, Ray Tango, where he's chasing down a guy who's literally like in a like a petrol gas truck, and it's apparently filled with drugs as well. And he pretty much stops him by standing in the middle of the road with a little tiny, you know, Cop Special 38 and gets him to stop the truck. That was actually, whether borrowed, homage, taken from Jackie Chan's Police Story, the original Police Story. And then, yeah, there was a little bit of toing and froing because there was a scene from this movie that they actually homaged in Police Story 3. So yeah, a little bit of mutual respect there, which was fantastic. A couple other sort of things that I picked up on. This was actually one of the first movies that was actually shown in a lot of Soviet states once the Berlin Wall came down. Because obviously, you know, the Cold War, things like that. You know, like a lot of American influence didn't come into, you know, Ukraine and USSR and things like that. So once the Berlin Wall came down, it started filtering through, and this was one of the first movies that the Soviet states got. So yeah, very interesting that was one of them. But yeah, one small little thing which I thought was kind of cute. Obviously in the big bad end scene where, you know, they're at the quarry and they're trying to find the bad guys and, you know, kill them all and do all this sort of stuff. They've got this souped up SUV that they're using that's a prototype, and the sound of the turbo sort of sound that they actually use for that was actually the sound for Luke Skywalker's land speeder in A New Hope. So I thought that was kind of a cute little factoid that I might chuck in there as well. But yeah, definitely worth a watch. Tango and Cash, good old 80s, you know, no holds barred action flick that's just a popcorn movie. You don't have to think about it too much. Just watch it. It's a fantastic movie. But that'll do for that particular part of it. Now, you know what we do. We get out the old trusty Guardians of the Galaxy popcorn tin, and then I will stick my hand in and grab out a letter. All right, we got one. All right, we have the letter F. F. Because obviously that to me is forward. F for forward. That to me is forward, but yeah, obviously I'll just flip it around so you can see it. So the letter F. So what will I choose from the letter F? Only time will tell. When I do my next episode, I will go to the F's, which is starting there and going to about there on the wraps. And yeah, see what we can find and see what we can pick. So anyway, that will do for this particular video. Thank you so much if you watched the entire thing. Do all the usual YouTube stuff. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Leave a comment if you want to. Most of all, please hit that subscribe button. It would be absolutely fantastic and greatly appreciated. Anyway, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Spidey out.